My name is Vince McLntyre. I'm 67 years old. I was born in the west of Ireland. I'm a farmer and I do woodworking. A jack of all trades, you might as well call me, yeah. It feels very permanent in the sense that it feels like home. This is most at home I feel any place since I left the place I was born. This is where I decided in the world to settle down. It's a beautiful place, and when I come here one time to help somebody get firewood, there was an old clear cut and all the trees were down, but it was so beautiful, the panorama of the mountains and the lake and all that, that I thought, oh, that'd be a nice place to live. In BC was helping an old rancher put up hundreds of acres of hay. The only machine he had, the only tractor machine he had was the mower, and everything else he did with the horses, cutting it and stacking, or picking it up and stacking it. That's where I first used horses before the tractor. Everybody had tractors. We did. My father, he was a horseman, and I helped him when I was like 10 years old and stuff. Learned to drive horses. A lot of people I find that with their first introduction to the horse, they treat it like a machine. Like you say whoa and the brakes are on, you know. And to me, it's more like being on a boat in rough water. That there's always movement going on, and you always have to be in touch with the movement with horses. Keeps you humble, because you know with a tractor, people get on a big machine and they have that power. With a horse, you have to be polite. You have to ask them. You have to get their willingness and attention. And with a tractor, you don't have to do that. Easy. For somebody to go back like I done is pretty rare. Like I know people that are 40 years old and they're still babies. They're still like they have this, you know, they treat me like a parent or something, you know. But you know, you should be over that. You should be over that. Like we have lost that concept of growing up and all that somehow, you know. Like you don't have that extreme whatever it is to push you out in the world. At one time it was a young fella'd go to sea because he couldn't get along with his father, for instance. And that's natural. That's natural to be forced out of the nest. Our nature is the same, to be ousted out of the nest at a certain. But with all the infrastructure and all the industrial whatever makes us so that we don't have to grow up. We don't have to go it on our own and whatever. I have my own rudimentary style that works for me. People that come want to learn something of me, I just come and watch me. I'll show you how I do it. And that's where I start with people. That I have demand of people that people be observant. You know, to actually explain stuff to people, I have a hard time with that, and that's not the way I like to do it. I don't want to come there. Like if you're in the field and I'm doing things a certain way, I'll show you how I do it, and then I'll see how you get it. Yeah. When we depend on an industrial system for our survival, we might protest all that and think that we're defeated and so on. But if we want to get our power back and be able to do things for ourselves and not pay other people to live our lives for us, we have to be devoted. We have to learn stuff and stick with it. It will define our lives. And we've been industrialized on all levels, and when you have that realization, you know, we feel helpless. My parents left without second thought their way of self-reliant lifestyle. With their own efforts, they had some power in their lives. But when you're on the land and you're farming, your life is full, and it's almost too full. It's almost like you're almost overwhelmed all the time. So you end up doing stuff that you have to do. This is what directs you. It's not some human voice, some power tripper in your life that you call the boss. I find that the more mechanical advantages you get, the less need you have to communicate with people. It dehumanizes the whole thing, and I think that's what's wrong with one of the things that's wrong with industrial agriculture is it's a lonely life. The way I live isn't ideal. It has its drawback, and it's physically demanding. And I'm an old man, and I suppose if I had spent the last 20-some years sitting on a tractor, I wouldn't be as strong as I am today, you know. And so that's, people go and exercise. I don't do that. I do my work. That's the way I'm going to do it. And so to me, that was a traditional way of doing it, and that's the way I do it today. Sometimes we have to go back and take another trail. Maybe that's where we're at. Maybe that's where the human race is at. To me, the biggest tragedy is that there's people today that they don't know why they're alive. They don't know why they're on this earth. It's unnecessary that they don't have responsibility here. I think that's the biggest human tragedy myself, because it leaves people helpless. That it's all about fun, and what we do is fun. There was a few events in my life happened to make me realize, hey, that was a good life. That's why I have this thing for traditional ways, not just to say, well, that's the old way. I mean, to me, that's often the good way. And the ideas I have and everything in the process of working are positive. Now that I appreciate that I had them experiences, because they give me endurance for what I do.